Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. These are all the movies I watched in July of 2024. First, I rewatched Your Name. This has always been just a really easy watch for me, a really wholesome movie that I've come back to a few times just when I'm like, I just want to watch a good anime movie. This is a very good go-to for me. You could argue that there's not a lot of depth in the movie, but I don't think that really matters. I think the characters are really charming. It's overall really fun, and those emotional moments do really hit really well. It's also just absolutely beautiful. This movie just looks incredible. Like, I don't know if there's very many anime that look better than this, even though this was made a little bit ago. There's still definitely some that are better, but this is stunning. And then I watched Rear Window. This is the last one of Alfred Hitchcock's movies that I've been really intrigued by or have been really, looking into and being like, that's something I want to watch. The rest of them I watched before, but I never got around to this one. So I'm glad I got to watch it now. But honestly, I was a little bit disappointed by this one. I feel like I've seen a lot better from Alfred Hitchcock, or at the very least, he made other movies that worked a lot better for me. This one, I feel like a lot of the ideas presented are ones where you're either really into them or you're not. And for me, I wasn't. This movie, well, it wasn't quite a drag or a slog. I did feel like I had a little bit of trouble getting through it. I wasn't outright bored. I was interested and I wanted to see how everything concluded. But by the end, it just kind of felt lackluster to me, and it just didn't work as well for me. There's no glaring flaws or anything, and I can understand why someone would like this. I wish I could understand better, and I would love to hear what other people have to say about this for why they think it's so great, because I don't think I completely understand. I see things and I'm like, yes, those are good, but it just doesn't work for me. I don't know. And then Millennium Actress. This was my first Satoshi Kon film. I've been interested in his work for a little bit, and this is just a pretty quick watch. It's just under an hour 30, and it's mostly just about one central idea, which I'm not going to mention because it feels like it really just comes together at the end. And you don't really know exactly what the point is, but then by the end it all comes together, and there's a very specific moment. It makes it very clear what the point is, but it's just so powerful. Even though it's such a simple idea, it comes on really strong, and I think it's really cool. It's overall just a great film. Just nice centralized idea and a quick film to sort of show it. Paths of Glory. This one is actually it's similar to Millennium Actress in a very specific way. It's also a short film that's mostly about one idea that just is really powerful. Again, this movie is obviously like any good war movie. It's very anti-war. It shows a lot of the really terrible things. I think what really makes Paths of Glory interesting is the fact that it's mostly just about one side of the war. You don't see these battles between the two opposing sides. It's just about the people on one side and sort of the troubles and difficulties that come, in between comrades even, or people that should be comrades, but the sort of betrayals that come from people's greediness or their depravity that they go into just because they want to rise the ranks or get a bit of a promotion, and just all the terrible stuff that comes with war as well. This, again, it's a short watch. It's really powerful, and it just really showed me that, man, Kubrick is just a fantastic director. He just does not miss. La La Land is up next, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this, and even now, I'm still a little bit mixed on it. I guess I should say that overall, I really enjoyed this. It's a really well-written romance and is overall just a lot of fun, but there's also a lot of heart to it. The characters are extremely likable. You get two actors that are extremely charismatic, put them together, shocker, they're going to be great together, and it just makes them super engaging. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, as I said. But the thing is that I have never been a fan of theatrical musicals, and that's definitely the style they're going for here. None of the songs really stuck with me, and that's just a matter of opinion for me. I don't think the songs are bad or anything, it's just not my taste. And there's things where it's like other people appreciate things like dance choreography, and I don't really find that stuff particularly engaging for me. For me, musicals, I generally like animated musicals because I think they can do a lot of really fun stuff with the visuals using the medium of animation, but live action relies on that dance choreography, and that's just not something I really find myself super attached to. But yeah, overall, this movie is just fantastic. It's just those are some things that I personally just can't get behind, and that's just a matter of taste. It should not, discourage you from seeing it yourself. 2001: A Space Odyssey. I watched this for the first and only time last summer, and I loved it. And I remember just thinking this might be one of my favorite movies, and it's really stuck with me for a while. But I've really felt that I pretty much have to rewatch it. I don't think I can really judge it too much after just that one watch. So I was coming back to it. I also felt like I needed to watch it by myself because last time I watched it with more people and we were kind of like talking a bit. So I sat down and I really needed to watch it by myself to really get a full experience and a new look at this movie. And honestly, it might have dropped down a little bit from being one of my favorite movies. It's still fantastic, but a lot of the things that really hit me the first watch just didn't at all. And obviously, things aren't going to be surprising on a second watch, but I really found that things that were super impactful just weren't this time around. There were some other things, like I found that the pacing not had as much of an effect as I thought it would. I thought, okay, watching this by myself, the pacing might be a bit of a struggle, but no, this movie is well made and it's a spectacle. It is thoroughly entertaining. But yeah, overall, I still love this movie. It's just not one that I will be considering one of my favorites. It's also just one that I will fully recommend. It's, obviously a must-watch for anyone who loves film. I then watched In a Lonely Place. This was just kind of a bit of a random swing I took. I wasn't really sure what to watch, and I just figured I'll just watch something a bit random, won't really think too much about it. I had no idea what this movie was about before I watched it, and I was really glad that I took a chance on it because it's quite good. It just, made me realize that sometimes it's good to just pick a movie at random and watch it, just see what it's about. And yeah, this is quite good. I found the characters super interesting, primarily the main character. That's pretty much the focus of this movie, is just this character, this guy. He's a screenwriter, and you learn he's suspected of this murder, and you're just trying to figure this guy out because he does have he has a violentish personality, but he also has this, pretty realistic relationship with this woman, and it feels like he genuinely loves her, but you're trying to figure out, okay, like, where does this guy stand and who is he really? And so that's just kind of what this movie is. It's pretty short and nice. It's just a well-made story. Next up is Catch Me If You Can. I'm surprised I never watched this when I was going through Spielberg's movies, just because this is like one of his most popular and people really like it. So yeah, I gave it a shot, and it's quite good. I almost want to say it's a bit like carried by the original or the actual true story, because this is inspired by a true story. And I say that because it's just an insane story, and I feel like it's just entertaining in of itself. So then talking about how it's executed and all the things that, made this movie what it is based off that story, it's really hard to critique because it's just a good story, and so it's hard to really give credit. Like, I don't know how much Spielberg really elevated it. I do think he did a quite good job. I think the cinematography is solid, the acting's solid. I think overall this is just everything does what it needs to, and it's just a crazy story, so it's plenty entertaining. The 400 Blows. This, I believe, is the first French film I've ever seen.
Des fois, je leur dirais des choses qui seraient la vérité, ils me croiraient pas, alors je préfère dire des mensonges.
Pourquoi n'aimes-tu pas ta mère?
Parce que d'abord, j'étais en nourrice, puis quand ils ont
sort of from Monster as I did from this movie, just in the sense that it's focused around a kid, and there's all these adults around him who are all doing their own thing, and they're all talking.
Both of whom have a complicated relationship with him, and he goes to school on a regular basis and clearly does not like school, does not fit into school, a young boys' school, in which the teachers are pretty harsh.
J'ai eu d'argent, ils m'ont mis chez ma grand-mère. Ma grand-mère, elle a vieilli, tout ça, elle pouvait plus me garder. Alors je suis venue chez mes parents à ce moment-là, mais j'avais déjà 8 ans tout. Puis je me suis aperçu que ma mère, elle m'aimait.
It kind of feels slice of life-ish. I don't think it has a pretty normal cut and dry 3-act structure. Like, I couldn't really figure out when it was gonna end. It was just, you're just going through all these different experiences that this kid have, and it's quite good and engaging all the way through. And then when it finally ends, it is just really hits. It's a very good movie. M. This is another first for me, being my first German film I've ever seen. Just been really enjoying just watching a bunch of foreign films recently, I guess. But M is such an interesting case because there's a lot of things to really love about this movie. And I just thought it was fine overall. I wasn't super gripped by the story and the characters. It felt very weird because this film takes an approach of having, more of a focus on the overall group of characters. Like there's the general group of the police and these general like hoodlums and gangsters and stuff. There's not a huge focus on individual characters. Like we don't even really get many names because it's not important. It's more of about society as a whole. But that just doesn't work for me personally. I love getting attached to characters and really loving them, and this film doesn't do that as much. The whole murder element in this guy, the whole chase of it is really interesting. I really like the general plot of this being that these gangsters have to help catch this criminal because, police are more alert and stuff with this guy being out and about. I think that's a cool plot, but overall, this movie doesn't work great for me. I really love the cinematography, and that seemed like one of the key elements is camera work, cinematography. That is something that makes this film so inspirational. And while I definitely noticed that, when that's the only thing really driving this film, it's hard for me to really love it. Lawrence of Arabia. This is just one of those quintessential long films. Like this is just one of those movies people seem to talk about, or it comes up in conversation when you're talking about long movies. And yeah, this movie is long, but it's also just big in scale. Like some of these scenes, man, the only thing I could compare it to is some scenes in Iran, and that I talked about, how it's just incredible how there's so many people and so many horses and animals they have to deal with, and how they can manage that and still create these great scenes that feel like really well put together. It's just incredible. And the same thing goes here for Lawrence of Arabia. In fact, it might even be bigger in scale, which is crazy to say. This movie is just an epic in every sense. It really captures a sense of adventure, which is really strange just because it's not like a joyous adventure, like let's go have a fun adventure. It's a bit more somber than that. Not completely somber, but just there's more to it. And it's just such a fascinating movie. I was feeling exhausted by the end, obviously with its length. That's pretty natural. It had nothing to do with the quality of the film. It wasn't boring at all. It's just, I'm human. I'm going to be exhausted by a nearly 4-hour movie. Overall, though, it is just a great movie all around. Just it hits all the right marks. It is just a really well-rounded film. And those were all the movies I watched this month. Obviously, I'm a bit late on this video. We're already a decent chunk into August. But anyways, you can tell me your thoughts on these movies down in the comments. Remember to save the blobfish, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.